It's been 2,190 days.
Dude, Rihanna, we waited for you.
It's been over 6 years since the 9-time Grammy winner dropped her last album. Everybody is waiting
where
for
have
it.
you been?
We've been impatiently waiting for the last project we got from Rihanna.
The fans just predicted the end of
And
Rihanna's
everybody has
To honor America with the performance of the national anthem, 8-time Grammy Award winner, Chris Stapleton.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular upon her singing out, yeah, through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
Hey, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Reach Out with Ray, Steve, and me, Robby. We are the show where East meets West, where the Yankees meet the Dodgers. Baseball meets music, and we all come together for our community. All right, let's invite my buddies now, Ray and Steve. Come on in, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Dodger Blue, and Valentine Red.
Yeah, what's up with that? Well, of course, it is that day. Looks
Happy
like I'm coming out of that
Valentine's Day,
baseball, too, there.
Yeah, we got
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Yes.
And Robby, you've been a busy man there.
It's so busy. But you know what? I'm so thankful, so grateful I get a chance to do music every day. I get to do what I love to do every day. Hey, did you guys watch? Wasn't there a football game the other day?
Yeah, the big football game. You know, it's cool because we had Robert Ham on a couple of days before the Super Bowl, and he was talking about flipping the coin, and we saw him on the field, which is pretty cool. And we have a little video.
Let's see that. I
to
didn't
prove
get to
it.
see that.
Let's check it out. Let's check
Let's
it
see
out.
it.
Now, let's take a look at this year's honorary coin toss captains.
Dave Prakash, 2017 Tillman Scholar, Air Force veteran.
Hajong Park,
2020 Tillman Scholar, U.S. Army Reservist.
Robert Ham, I'm a 2016 Tillman Scholar and a U.S. Army veteran.
Fabergé Flint, I'm a 2021 Tillman Scholar, Army spouse.
Is this better?
There we go.
Nice.
There we go. All right, let's check out. We have the little coin toss. Robert didn't do the coin toss, but his colleague did. Let's check it out.
Super Bowl 57, Tillman Scholars, Dave Prakash. Haejung Park. Robert Ham. And to flip the coin, Fabergé Flint. And now, referee Carl Shepherds.
Fabergé, thank you for joining us at today's toss. We appreciate all the work that you and your colleagues do at the Pat Tillman Foundation to help our military families and veterans. Thank you. Captains, congratulations on earning the opportunity to play in Super Bowl 57. Your achievements are memorialized on the tail side of the coin, with each representing your team logo. This will be tails. The head side of the coin is the Super Bowl 57 logo. Kansas City, you're the visiting team. What is your call?
Tails.
Kansas City has called tails. Fabergé, if you would please toss the coin. It is tails. Kansas City has won the toss. They will defer their choice for the second half. Philadelphia will get the ball first at this end of the field. Good luck, gentlemen.
That was a great time right before the game. And Robert was right there, front and center. Thank you, Robbie, for setting that up last week.
That was so cool. I mean, I've known this guy since he was a young boy, and it was so exciting to see him being honored with that amazing tribute. But you know what I thought the best part of the whole game was?
What's that?
The end of the game means it's the beginning of baseball season.
Here we go.
I agree with you.
Pitchers and catchers.
No, but you know what spring training means to me?
What's that?
Do you have no idea, Robbie?
I think I do.
Every spring training, the Frankie Valley and the Four Seasons always happen to be at Ruth Eckerd Hall.
Right, I knew that was coming.
And Robbie Robinson gets to come. Well, in the past, before pre-pandemic, he used to come to the stadium. He used to go into the batting cage.
Mm-hmm.
He used to swing the bat.
I'm ready to come back. I want to get one. I want to see if I can hit one out in Tampa.
Okay, Robbie, please, let's not get carried away.
Wow. Well, you just brought up Frankie Valley and the boys and Robbie Robinson, February 24th and 25th. We have a little promo clip from Ruth Eckerd Hall. Thanks, Bobby
Awesome.
Rossy. Let's check it out.
Here come Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, Frankie Valley and the Four Seasons. Friday and Saturday, February 24th and 25th at Ruth Eckerd Hall. 19 top 10 hits with Frankie Valley and the Four Seasons. Reserved seats on sale now. Buy tickets at rutheckerdhall.com. Don't miss Frankie Valley and the Four Seasons live.
Awesome.
Okay.
I love that place.
About that. I'm excited about that. But I have two questions to see if the great Robbie Robinson, our maestro, can answer.
Well, let me get two Robbie so we can have you two answers. Here we go. Okay.
Robbie, what was the number one Frankie Valley song? And I didn't say Four Seasons now. I said Frankie Valley. What was the number one Frankie Valley song of the 60s?
Oh, it's got to be Can't Take My Eyes Off You.
Okay. Now, here's the second question. What was the number one Frankie Valley song of all time?
Are you talking about Frankie Valley and the Four Seasons or just Frankie Valley?
Did I say that? Listen to what I said now.
Yes, teacher, I heard what you said. Okay, the answer
You might need a couple more Robbie Robinsons for
hold
this.
on.
Can you mute yourself again?
Okay. What was the number one Frankie Valley song of all time?
It's got to be Can't Take My Eyes Off You.
Bit wrong.
What is it?
My eyes adore you.
I don't believe that.
My eyes adore you.
I don't
How
believe
about that?
Show me the proof.
I listen. I can only go by CBS FM.
Well, there are other charts out there too, but in Robbie Robinson's charts, it Can't Take My Eyes Off You.
So, Robbie, I mean, you've been busy and a lot of number ones from Frankie Valli and you guys.
Speaking of Can't Take My Eyes Off You, though, Steve, let me throw this at you. We just came off an amazing night where Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, wow, and Lil Wayne, wow, the Hollywood elite audiences.
Yes.
You know what? And it was an amazing, we did Can't Take My Eyes Off You. And can you imagine all these Beyonce, Kevin Costner, who we just saw in the Super Bowl, Tom Hanks, Lil Wayne, Lil Baby, Lizzo, Lotto, the biggest Hollywood celebrities, all jumping up and singing "Can't Take My Eyes Off You." Look at that.
That was
look at Frankie in the middle.
Yep.
Frankie's in the middle. Now, look, I just got a nice letter. So I got this being my 50th anniversary. I got nice letter. I got a nice letter from Sonia Sotomayor, the Supreme Court Justice. Okay.
Wow.
Congratulating me on my 50 years. Now,
I'm impressed. That's pretty cool.
Here's the thing, Frank, Robbie. The reason I bring that up is only because only you can let my only dream in life that I have.
Sounds like a song. Only you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you're the only one that can make this happen for me, Robbie. I want to be able to be the 5th season. I want to say Can't Take My Eyes on You with Frankie Valli, with you in the background doing your thing with the. You got to give me that. You got to give me that.
Okay, my people are going to get back to your people. How's that?
Yeah. Do you have people?
Well, you're my people. You're my people. You and Carmine are my people. You know what I'm saying?
Kid, do you want to audition right now? You want to sing a little bit of Sherry for the audience?
No. We heard it last week. We filed it.
I've been working on it. So.
Yes, I've been a little more work, but put that on your
Okay.
to-do
Well,
list.
let me throw this out. Let me show you a taste of what Hollywood does when Frankie Valli sings.
Okay,
let's check it out.
Here it is. Check this out. This is last Saturday at the Grammy Gala, the Clive Davis Grammy Gala, and it goes like this.
There are no words left to speak, but if you feel like I feel, please let me know that it's real. You just want to be true. Can't take my eyes
Turn me on now.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you. If you like and to touch, I want more so much. As long as love has arrived, and love ain't gonna lie. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you. Trust me when I say,
So what do you think of that, guys?
So come on,
Are you
it's
still
Frankie
there?
Valli. What do you expect? And that song is in more movies than any
Exactly.
other song probably in the history of music.
It was in the
what an
Deer
audience in
Hunter.
the-
It was 3 times in the Deer Hunter.
That's right.
3
That's
different times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an audience. You guys had a great time over there.
And but the you know what? And we had a great time, and it was definitely a night to remember. Oh, what a night for sure. But I'll tell you the amazing thing, the most amazing thing. Frankie Valli did not always get the respect from the Hollywood crowd. He did not get the respect from the industry, but we got the best response of any of the artists, any of the hip hop artists, any of the contemporary artists, any of the legendary rock stars. And you saw what it was like there. It was so gratifying to see Frankie get his due on such a big stage.
And how is Clive Davis? I mean, we hear from a distance, amazing man, but to get Frankie Valli and you guys up on stage that night must have meant a lot.
Well, what Frankie said about it, he said, you don't say no to Clive. And look at Clive there. Frankie will soon be 89 years old, and Clive is 90.
Wow.
So you're talking about almost 2 centuries of rock and roll legends, you know?
Not bad. Well, we got a loaded show here. We got a lot of guests.
Yeah.
And our first guest is about community. We have the CEO of the Mount Vernon Boys and Girls Club, Mel Campos. Mel, can you join us on the show? Reach out. That's Robby Robinson, Ray Negron, and I'm Steve Vaccaro. How you doing, Mel?
Doing good. How are you? How are you, Robby? Good to see you.
Hi, Mel.
Again.
Good to
Ray?
see you, brother.
What's going on?
Yeah. Welcome to Reach Out. How you been, Mel?
I'm good. I'm good. Busy. Happy Valentine's Day. You know, we're getting ready to have our Valentine's Day celebration at the club.
Fantastic.
So all good.
So, Mel, you've been involved with the Boys and Girls Club for your whole entire life. And what does it mean at this point in time to look back on your work, but also to look ahead, what you're doing now, and look ahead at what Mount Vernon's doing?
Well, it's been quite a journey, Steve. First walked into a Boys and Girls Club in 1968.
Wow.
Wow. Robby, you probably weren't even born then.
I wasn't even born then. You got that right. Yeah.
But you know, went there, wanted to learn how to play basketball. The club was in the projects, so my mother didn't want me to go. I snuck there.
Wow.
And it's probably the only time in my life that I disobeyed my mother that it worked out.
Yeah.
So, you know, and moving to today, I am in my 11th year at the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. My 10th anniversary was February 11th, was 10 years. And working on my last project before I retire, Steve, and it's a big one. We're going to be raising money to completely renovate / rebuild the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. So it's an exciting project. It's going to be a difficult project. My life has changed. I've had to reassign a couple of people to do some of the things I used to do. because my focus has got to be for the next couple of years on raising the dollars and managing this project. So it's exciting. There are those who tell me I should have picked an easier project to go out on, but I don't operate that way. I'm proud of the work we do here, proud of the work we've done here, and proud of what we're going to leave for the next at least 3 generations of kids in Mount Vernon.
Awesome.
Mel, why do you think you have had some of the greatest names ever in sports and entertainment go through your club? You know, whether it's Ken Singleton, the Williams brothers in the NBA. I mean, so many. You've had Academy Award-winning actors, etc. Why did that happen?
You know, that's a good question. We've had 13 NBA players go through the club. We've had many people in many different fields go through the club. I always say that there's something in the water in Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
But I think the reality is that Mount Vernon is a fantastic community that has its share of challenges, but the people here are incredibly talented. The Boys and Girls Club has been here for 111 years, and it's the people who work here, and not the people who just work here now, but the people who have worked here over the past 111 years. And I don't go back 111 years, but I do go back pretty far. And, a name that you may or may not know is Billy Thomas. And Billy Thomas was the director here for 23 years. And he actually is the man that the legendary Denzel Washington calls his mentor.
Wow.
And Billy, goes back 60 years. So I go back that far. And just the people who have gone through. I know all of you know Lowe's Moore, who was here 27 years. So between Billy, Lowe's, and myself, we've provided the leadership for this organization for the last 60 years. And what I look for when I hire people, and I think this started before me, is do you really care about kids? If you have all the degrees in the world and you don't really care about kids, it don't matter.
Amen.
Do you really care about kids?
Well, I think, Mel, one of the big reasons why so many people come to serve the Boys Club is that your heart is so obvious, and that you foster that kind of a loving, caring environment that people want to help and serve, and just to serve their fellow man. And that's exactly what you do, brother, and that's what it's all about.
Robby, thank you.
Mel, I was going to let Robby know, and I work with all the boys clubs throughout the city, and no other boys and girls club did more during the pandemic than Mel's club in Mount Vernon.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
I mean, the gym would be loaded with food, etc., what have you, and the people was around the corner collecting the food. Give us a little bit of that, Mel.
Well, the food insecurity in Mount Vernon has been real and an issue for a long time. The pandemic made it rise to the surface that people were not eating. People, because of the pandemic, and people figure out how to get some food. There's something going on. I don't have food. I'm going to figure out how to get food. But many of those venues were no longer available because everything was closed. And we realized early on that while we couldn't be open and run our full program, we had to do something to support our kids. And a byproduct of supporting our kids was supporting the families. So we started a twice a month food and clothes pantry that the first week we had about 50 people come through. which was fine. But we've continued it on, and even past the pandemic, we now have a food and clothes pantry once a month, and we have about 350 people come through every month.
Awesome.
So that was it. We've always done healthy snacks. We started a dinner program. We provide snacks, breakfast and lunch during the summer, dinner every day during after school program. But we weren't thinking, we have to do this during the pandemic. And I mean, the pandemic, we all thought it was going to be 3 week a month thing. And then, it became 2 years, and that was the need. So we responded to that need. It was a great thing. And kudos to my board of directors, who after much discussion and debate agreed to allow me to open the club on a limited basis and to do these things. So it worked.
Just think about this. Think about this, Mel. If you hadn't disobeyed your mother 100 years ago, and look at all that stuff that has followed that path in your life's journey, brother.
Yeah, no, it's. I am so blessed and privileged to do the work that I do. And I have a staff that is fantastic. We're going through a little bit of growing pains because we've changed responsibilities and we've changed what we do. But we're pulling it together, and we're continuing to serve kids while we raise the dollars to bring a state-of-the-art Boys and Girls Club to the city of Mount Vernon.
Well, I'm very proud. I'm very proud of Denzel in the aspect that he's never given up on your club. He's always come back and he's always supported. And I wish more celebrities would follow the steps that Denzel has done with your club.
But Denzel Washington is the real deal.
Yeah.
And Ray, Steve, Robby, all you guys, you guys are around more celebrities than I am, but I know that in my life, I've been privileged to meet quite a few, and some actually are a disappointment when you meet them. You look up to them and you're like, oh, wow. And then you meet them and you're like, huh? Not Denzel. Denzel is the real deal. He's genuine. He's private. He doesn't go out jumping up and down and bragging about the things that he does. He does the right thing for people because it's the right thing. Yeah. We also have JB Smoove, who's also an alumni of this club. Also, you're not going to meet a more genuine guy. When Denzel comes, he wears a hat. He's incognito. You don't really know. Sometimes he's in the building and you don't know he's in the building.
Wow.
But JD, when he comes, he's coming down 2 blocks down. He's like, yo, what's up? So, they're different, but their heart is the same, and they're pure in what they do and why they do it. And I couldn't be luckier to have those two gentlemen being supporters of the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon.
Great.
Well, Mel, I want to thank you for spending a few moments with us. You're one of my favorite people on this planet.
Definitely.
For all the work that you do. And we're going to bring empty buckets so we can load it up with water when we come here next, so we can take some of that water back to Long Island so we can get that those nice seeds planted. How can people help you, donate, or contact you at Mount Vernon?
Well, we are always accept and appreciative of donations. The easiest and best way to make a donation is through our website, which is on the screen, bgcmvny.org. There's a donate button there. You push that button and it asks you what you would like your funds to go towards. And we honor everyone's request as to how they want their money invested. But we appreciate and want people to invest in our kids. We have beautiful, bright kids. The next Denzel Washington, the next JB Smoove are here right now. We just don't know who they are yet.
Yep.
Well, Mel, thank you. Thank you so very much. We'll see you down the road real soon.
Thank you, guys. Great to see you.
Thank you, Mel.
Thanksgiving.
All right.
God bless. All right, Let's check out a CNN clip of the baby whisperer, and we have him live in studio right after this clip. Let's check it out.
Wow.
Police officers are often told, expect the unexpected. Many of them do. For an officer in Long Island, though, in New York, that advice could not be more true. He has helped deliver 5 babies over the last 5 years. CNN's Bryn Gingras has more in this week's Beyond the Call of Duty.
Yeah.
He's called
The baby whisperer.
That's because Suffolk, New York Police Sergeant Jon-Erik Negron has delivered 5 babies in the last 5 years.
I guess the record lives on, so we'll see how many we could take it to.
So many babies, a stork is now pinned to his uniform.
When I became a police officer, it was because I wanted to help people, but I didn't know it was going to be helping people deliver their kids.
While on duty, Negron always just seems to be in the right place at the right time.
Myself and the same paramedic that delivered baby number 3, we pulled up to the house at the same time, and he just looked at me. He's like, "You got to be kidding me." He's like, "This is happening again with you."
All jokes aside, Negron says this is the most serious call an officer can receive. He will never forget the first time it happened because it changed his life.
I was just doing some work on the computer, and a call came over of a mother going into labor in her kitchen.
Only thing I remember is when he was born, Mike put him on my chest and he was just purple.
The father of the baby, Mike Papalardo, he was at the front door. He was covered in blood and said the baby had been born and he still wasn't breathing.
John came in through the door. I looked at him first of all. I was like, this guy looks like he's like a young kid. I'm like, oh God.
That training kicked in again, and I said, we need to clear his airway.
He's like, do you have a turkey baster? I'm like, no, I have a syringe.
So he gave me that, and I was able to extract whatever liquid was blocking the baby's airway, and then he took a breath shortly after that.
Without John, I don't know if Bryce would be here.
Bryce Papalardo, a healthy boy. Soon after his birthday,
John reached out to me and was texting me, hey, how's Bryce doing? And then we were like, he genuinely cares about Bryce. So it was an easy decision to say, like, hey, we want this guy in Bryce's life. I mean, he's been there for him since day one.
And that's how Negron went from first responder to godfather.
What a sweet car. I wish I had a car like that.
They're always together. He comes for Christmas, birthdays.
At 5 years old, it may be no surprise. Bryce wants to be a police officer.
I want to save people like he saved my life.
It's a special bond that I have with this family. He knows I'll be there for him forever.
Bryn Gingras, CNN, New York.
The baby whisperer, Sergeant Jon-Erik Negron.
There you see him on Jennifer Hudson.
And proud pop over here, Ray Negron. Check it out. Both Jon-Erik and Ray in the same room.
Very rare.
Jon-Erik, I am so proud of you. I just couldn't. I'm so thankful. I have tears when I watch that. You know, God bless you, brother, for doing that.
Thanks, Robby. Good seeing you.
So, Robby, we went from the Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon to Jon-Erik and his amazing work in the Suffolk County Police Department as a sergeant, delivering 5 babies. So how do you feel after doing all this, but also serving the community that you work for?
Well, yeah, it always goes back to serving the community. I didn't know I was going to deliver 1 baby, and let alone 5 babies, but here we are talking about it, and more importantly, talking about what police do. I'm one police officer. They're around the clock, 24 hours a day around the country. Police are doing great things right now. You'll never hear about it, and that's not why we go to work, not to be on TV, not to be on Jennifer Hudson, or not to be here, wherever, but just so that people know that the police are there to help. And that's the message that I've been able to kind of express throughout this whole media circuit that I've been thrust into for the Suffolk County Police Department. And you know what? At the end of the day, if it sheds light on that, then I'm happy doing it. You know, like I said, even with the Papalardo family, the only reason this all started was because they wrote a letter to the police department talking about what happened with Bryce and that story. And then this all came, 5 years later, we're still talking about it. And it's just important to get that message out.
And Ray, sitting next to Jon-Erik, I know you have other children too, but today we're going to focus in on Sergeant Jon-Erik Negron here. What are your thoughts about your son?
I'm proud of all my kids. They've all done something special in their life, and whether one winning the Golden Gloves in New York, or the other one his heroics in the streets, and let alone being a professional baseball player. and my daughter, who's giving me my first grandson now, and then, you know, this guy over here who just, you know, I mean, he, I guess he holds the records for the Guinness Book of World Records for delivering babies now. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of upstaging you a little bit.
You know what? I love it. I love the aspect of everything that he's doing, and I also love the fact that he is helping to shed light at the fact that the police are not all bad like they make it out to be out on Fox or wherever you see the scenarios.
You mean I thought policemen were all bad. Everything. Is that what
Right? Yeah.
everybody teaches?
And, unfortunately, I mean, we've gone through it in my career and my brother Ricky's career. We've seen the ups and downs. You know, you're high one day, you're low one day, just like Sinatra said, right? And we've got to just keep battling. We got to fight against that narrative because it's not true. When something happens, who are you going to call? You're not going to call the Ghostbusters. You're going to call 911.
Exactly.
And they're going to show up and they're going to do exactly what they were trained to do. And they're going to be there to make a difference. And if we weren't there, you know, God knows what would happen in this country without the police and the first responders that are going to show up every time you call 911.
You know, we just had another mass shooting at Michigan State University. 3 people died, 5 people were injured. And everyone there was counting on the police to show up and do their thing to save other lives. When you see something like that, you're prepared to do that anytime, right?
I was sitting at work last night, and then obviously they let the department know what's going on across the country if there's something like that. We're always ready. We're always vigilant. You get calls like that, and a lot of times, you know, they're false alarms, somebody with a gun in a potential mass shooting setting like that. But when it happens and it's the real deal, you know, the cops, I'm sure they got there as fast as they could, and they helped to get that situation under control and limit the casualties there. Unfortunately, you know, like Steve said, we lost 3 students and 5 others in critical condition. But that police response is what's going to help that end as soon as possible and limit the loss of life, which is obviously tragic if it's one person or you know, multiple people like it was last night.
Yeah, the sheriff of Suffolk County, Earl Toulon, has ties to both of you guys. He's a former bat boy for the New York Yankees, and you know him very well, Ray, and he's your boss. So, Ray, talk about Earl Toulon.
Well, let me just say this, that people forget that Jon-Erik was also a bat boy.
Ah, okay.
You know, and with plenty of experience as a bat boy. You know, he
Okay.
did it for several years.
Wow.
You know, both in New York and in Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
You know, and so it's that people forget that when you're a bat boy, remember, you're like a superhero.
Right.
So he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Well, he's a baby whisperer. He's got a
That's
cartoon,
right.
a cape and everything.
Yeah.
Hey.
You flew here, didn't you? There you go.
I think Jon-Erik, I think your father must have taught you how to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, it seems like it, right? I mean, it's all about timing, and the fact that it's happened several times thereafter. It's about being at the right place at the right time when people need you, and you know, taking action, letting your training take over, and just doing what needs to be done.
But Earl Toulon, say a few words about
Earl Toulon is the first black sheriff in Long Island's history, and before that, he was the head of the prison, Rikers Island, and before that, he was a policeman, and before that, he was the bat boy for the New York Yankees, and one of my truly great friends, and he is an incredible gentleman, and he's been a great mentor to my son here. So I'm so eternally grateful. And let me just say, people also forget that Reggie Jackson is Jon-Erik's godfather.
Okay.
You know, but I must add, which is very important, that his stepfather, Jerry, is a NYPD.
Oh, God
okay.
bless.
So that the whole police thing has always been around him, and I'm proud of his stepfather. He's always been a great man, and he was the best guy that could have been there when I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm eternally grateful to Jerry and his mom, who's a great lady. That's all I got to say. She's a great lady.
So, Sergeant Negron, why did you get into law enforcement to begin with?
Well, like you just said, it's always been around me. Whether it was giving back
Oh, Mr. Steinbrenner.
Through his channels in the community and what he's done with the Yankees and what he's always wanted to do ever since he had the opportunity to be a bat boy and take that to the levels that he has now. I mean, has exceeded, I think, his own imagination. And then growing up and then having those influences of law enforcement and seeing how important it is to have that in the community has kind of influenced me since I was young. I didn't know it was going to be in police. I thought I was going to go into baseball too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, let me just say this. One time, Robby, he's sitting with George Steinbrenner and me, and Mr. Steinbrenner says he had just started the Silver Shield to take care of police officers' children of the police officers killed in the line of duty.
Wow.
So he was always very proud of the police. And he turned to Jon-Erik one day and he said, "Son, if you play baseball like your father, I think you better become a police officer."
So if it wouldn't have been for Steinbrenner, then he wouldn't maybe not be the baby whisperer. Maybe those babies aren't born.
We will never know, Robby.
Robby, you've toured the country for years and decades. How important is security for your safety, the band's safety, wherever you go? Because this guy over here is really protecting so many lives. When you're on the road like that, is that important for you?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, yes, I think, but security is important. I mean, I don't want to make it as you need a bodyguard when you're in a band or something like this. But I think it goes back to what we talked about earlier, what Jon-Erik was saying. You get in trouble, who are you going to call? And if there's nobody to call, then you're really in trouble.
Right. Well, our thoughts and prayers go out to people in Michigan State, all their families and stuff. Yes. So, Jon-Erik, how important is family to you? Your father brought up your sister's going to have a baby. I don't know if you're delivering it, but in a few months. But your brothers, talk about how important family is for you.
So this has almost become like a family business. I got two brothers that I work with here in Suffolk County.
Two brothers,
not just Ricky and my brother Jordan. So the fact that I get to go to work with them, and we worked in the same precinct for years before I just got promoted and left, which was the highlight of my career. You go to work, and I got almost that experience of feeling like a parent. I'm sure I felt the worry that he feels when we go to work. I felt that being there with my little brothers, and I felt the responsibility of making sure that they're okay when they're at work. And it's a stressful feeling, but I know that they're there for the same reasons that I am.
Well, here's the thing. Jon-Erik calls me up one day. I'm at a theater. And he calls me. And so I see his John. Whenever I see him or Ricky, I go right away because I'm a parent of police officers. So I take it. I say hello, and he says, "Dad, Ricky was in a shootout. He's alive." And to get that message like that, you could have used your words easier.
Yeah, that was one time. They're just hard to put into words. When I got that phone call, was a lot. I mean, it was probably the same way he felt. And I got called from somebody that knew Ricky's my little brother, and they said they were taking him to the hospital, and that's really all they could tell me. So how do you relay that message to your parents now when you don't have a lot of information? That they said, they told me, they said he's okay, he's going to the hospital, he was in a shootout. That's it. That's all I knew. That's all I could tell him, because it's going to be all over the news. And he knows that we were at work, so you try to minimize that worry, but I didn't really know what else to tell him at that moment. It was very scary.
Well, before we bring out guests, we're going to talk about Super Bowl Sunday in a minute. Kernan and Billy Martin Jr., they're going to talk football in a few minutes. But Ray, 50 years in baseball, your family, your children, what they do, how important is all that for you?
If it wasn't for baseball, he wouldn't be sitting here right now. I met his mother at the ballpark as a bat boy. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, the whole circle. God had his master plan, and it has to be God's master plan because of the way things work out in every facet. So I thank God, and I thank Mr. Steinbrenner every day, because had he not done that 50 years ago, he wouldn't have been born, and in turn, Bryce would not have been saved, because no other police officer would have been as cool as he was to be able to do a procedure on the little baby's throat just born. And he did it. And you know what? People talk about heroes. Yeah, I have a lot of heroes. George, Billy, Reggie, Thurman, you know, but this is my number one. Him and my children are my number one hero. Period.
Last week,
Frankie Valli too, and Robbie Robinson, by the way.
There we go. Last week we did a mini Bat Boy show at a Patchogue Elementary School in Suffolk County here, and both you guys were there. All the kids were there. Excitement. Jon-Erik, talk about that feeling.
Yeah, the fact that we were going to do that together was exciting. I knew it was coming straight from work that morning. That was when the school wanted to do it. I said I'll go there on no sleep, just because I knew how much it was going to mean to the kids to get to speak to both of us to speak to the kids together. I think that they were ecstatic. They're gonna think about that for a long time.
Yeah.
They went home and they told their parents about that day, and they definitely had a special awesome. guest speakers that day.
Yeah. And Robbie, I made him sing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's no worse than you singing.
Oh, thanks, Robbie.
Yeah, it's pretty close though.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you, he does everything
Really?
great.
Yeah, that's not.
But you know, we gotta switch
He's
gears.
gotta
Here.
sing.
Talk Super Bowl Sunday because we got Billy Martin Jr. We have Kevin Kernan waiting in the wings. Let's bring these guys on, and if you stick with us, we're gonna talk about the Super Bowl. Kevin and Billy, are you there, guys?
Absolutely.
Hey guys.
Welcome. Thank you, guys. Sorry about the wait, but we're talking to Sergeant Negron here, and Billy and Kevin. You have any words to say about Sergeant?
Are you kidding me? We need a lot more of those guys out there. It's I can't. Ray and I talk about it sometimes, but I've pushed my kids, both of my boys, to consider being first responders. The more quality human beings that are doing that, the better our world is.
And Billy, as you'd well know, your father was a huge supporter of the police in New York. I mean, they loved Billy, and Billy loved them, and he would go to the precinct and stuff like that, you know, and that's it. I can't say any more about your father because I love him so much that I cry every time.
Billy, talk about your father a little bit, but also your relationship with Ray and what just unfolded between him and his son.
You know, I had to share my father with Ray. He was like a big brother to me. When I guess I was 12 years old on. So I get why he cries. I do all the time. My kids never got to meet my father. You know, they only know him from watching shows and videos and interviews on TV. So most people don't realize that man's heart was even bigger than his grit.
Wow.
And he had a little bit of grit.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did. Okay, I got a trivia question for Robbie.
Okay, let's see if I could. I already flunked the other ones.
All right.
Okay.
What was Billy Joel's inspiration? What song was Billy Joel's inspiration for the song Uptown Girl?
Well, I know that well, and I can tell you a little anecdote. We did a show for that was a tribute to Billy Joel. It was a TV show, and so we did Uptown Girl on that show, and it was so cool. And I'm standing there with Billy Joel and Bob Gaudio, and Billy Joel is just going gaga over Bob Gaudio, and he said, "Bob, you have always been my hero." And he wrote that song to be the flip side of Ragdoll.
Absolutely. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Trivia question part 2 to that is
okay.
What is Billy Joel's middle name, ironically born in the Bronx?
Oh, gosh, I thought he was a Long Island guy, but I don't know. Let's see, Billy Joel. It's not Billy Joel Royal, but I don't know. So
that middle name would be Martin.
What is it?
Billy Martin. So he must be a Yankee fan and named after you-know-who, your father, huh?
He is definitely a Yankee fan.
Wow. I did not know that. That's fascinating.
I didn't know that
after
either.
your father.
I didn't know that either.
And do you know who introduced? Do you know who introduced Bob to Frankie?
Yeah, I know that, of course. Now this is according to that would be Joe Pesci.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a small world out there.
Hey, Billy, we gotta get you on the Game Show Network. This is good. But we got to talk football.
Hey, let me jump in here real quick because I come from a family of policemen. Actually, my nephew is third generation policeman in the same police force, and he, what those guys do every day is unbelievable.
Absolutely.
He works in a smaller town, but he recently had a case where pulled a guy over, had all kinds of guns. Guy went nuts. You see it all the time on the videos. And, he kept his head, did what he had to do, arrested him. And I want to get my little point in here. Not only what these cops are doing, we got to stand behind them, but the DAs have to start putting these people in jail after they're arrested. It's a joke what's going on. And these guys cannot be having to face the same problems over and over again with, 10 times, 11 times, 12 times before we're playing with fire, and we got to wake up as a country. And I got to say one other thing. That was the best show, the best report I've ever seen on CNN. I've never seen anything that good on CNN before.
There we go.
Touche.
It took a Negron to do it. What do you want? I mean,
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised knowing Ray and family and values. You get what you put into life.
There you go. Gentlemen, let's talk football. And Billy, I'm going to bypass that Dallas Cowboy helmet that's staring me right in the face. I don't know why you keep putting that up on the screen, but you saw the reception that Dak Prescott got, right?
Yeah, the Philly fans weren't too kind to him, were they?
No.
Does that shock you?
So, Billy, did you watch the game?
Absolutely.
Did you watch the game?
I watched the game sitting next to former Cowboy Jay Novacek at a friend's house in Dallas.
Okay.
And I had the luckiest prediction of my life this year. I preseason predicted KC and Philly and didn't bet a penny on it like a moron. So, I'll never do that again in my life. Pat Mahomes.
Kevin, did you watch the game?
Of course. And, a couple little things. My nickname is AMBS, America's Most Beloved Sports Writer. And I go way back in my whole job everywhere. And there's always connections. And as Ray knows, it's all about connections in life. And, Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator, for the Chiefs, great guy. He was a running back with the Chargers when I covered the Chargers. And he was always, really had his head in the game. And he made the play, he made the decision. I know Andy gets all the credit, and Andy's a great coach. I've covered the NFL for many years. Through the years, been to about 10 Super Bowls. But it was Eric Bieniemy who picked up on film the Eagles' weakness of putting the man in motion and then cutting him back the other way on the Tony touchdown and the other play on the other side. So Eric Bieniemy kind of won that Super Bowl with that adjustment and saved it for just the right time for basically 2 touchdowns. And that's how you win Super Bowls. So hats off to Eric Bieniemy. I'd love to see him get a head coaching job somewhere. And it's always nice. He was on Bobby Beathard's staff. I mean, he played for Bobby Beathard when Beathard was the GM. And, of course, Bobby passed away this week. So this past week, another great, brilliant football guy. So it's great to see him. Mahomes, he was a little kid running around, you guys remember it, Ray. You've been over. Mahomes was running around with his dad, and I'm starting to see I'm getting to the point where I've been around so long, I'm seeing grandkids now making it to the majors.
Right. Wow, we talked about, and we don't have a lot of time, so I apologize for that. Spring training is only a couple of days away. Kevin, what's your thoughts? I know the WBC, we're not going to see all the stars in spring training, but what's your thoughts about pitchers and catchers getting together?
Well, I think 2 quick things on this season. I think baseball really has to hit the ground running, has to really start getting the fans back. I mean, look at all the people that watch the NFL. I think they've already made a mistake by bringing back the fake runner. I'll get more into that on Ball 9. But I had a column this week about what to expect in spring training. And I'm not talking about 5th starters and things like this. I'm talking about the big players and things like this. The Yankees, first off, real quick. Aaron Judge, it's so great having him back. They would have lost it forever if they lost Judge. The Mets have Verlander. That's going to be fun to see. Team to watch. Padres, to me, are a big team to watch. Little things, and I think Ray can address this, but bringing in a Nelson Cruz is like something that Fernando Tatis hey, learn some humility, kid. Let your talent flow. And it also takes the pressure off Manny, because Manny can't be a superstar and also guide this kid. This kid's got to wake up, you know. You got to grow up, you know. So I think that's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of great races. I'm excited about baseball season. I'll be going out of spring training a little bit. And, you know, the WBC, I'm a big WBC fan. I think they squeeze it in a little too tight, but it's going to be a great year. And then as we go through the year, the Dodgers, Gavin Lutz, can he play shortstop? That's going to be the question. Everybody's got a question. The Yankees have the shortstop issue. I tell you right now, I think bring up Volpe, Peraza, trade Gleyber Torres. That's what I would do, and I would move on for the Yankees.
Listen, it would be like having Trammell and Whitaker all over again.
Yes, and you know, I'm covering those guys, being at the Hall of Fame when Trammell made it. You know, he's a Southern California guy. When I lived out in Southern California, great guy. You need that now because the shortstops and second base are no important, right, Billy?
Yeah, finally again.
They got to move now. There's no more Mike Moustakas playing second base anymore.
That's right. That's right. Real quick, Billy, your thoughts on the upcoming season?
Oh, come on. It's this time of year, everybody's in first place.
Right.
It's so much fun to see which of these moves really work and which don't. And, you know, I love this time of year because that first set of injuries is going to tell us a lot. And you mentioned the WBC. Why don't they move that to right before the season starts, literally the week before, when everybody's at their peak, instead of having pitchers maxed out a month before a game?
Great point, Billy. You already have Nelson Cortez. You know, he's already out because he ramped it up.
Yeah.
But one thing about Billy, I want to mention, I know you're close by. I'm excited about the Texas Rangers too.
Oh, yes.
Bochy, Chris Young, the GM. You know, they're bringing back infield. They're going to have infield 3 times a week. That's a team to watch too, as well.
Well, look what
Real quick, because we have to end. Kevin,
I'm sorry, guys. Chris Young,
Billy,
as a first-year GM, hired Dayton Moore as his assistant.
Yes.
A GM who's already won World Series. I mean, that takes a pair to do that, right? And then he goes out and hires Bruce Bochy, who we know is smart because he has the largest hat size in Major League Baseball. But then they go out and they sign 4 starting pitchers and re-sign Martin Perez. So they really signed 5 starters because they go after Odorizzi as their long reliever. I mean, I'm pretty impressed with what that team's done. It's obviously got to work out, but wow.
Hey, Kevin, just so you know, Billy Jr. is representing one of the top prospects in the Texas Rangers organization, and Adrian Rodriguez. And throwing 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
We have to end, guys. But Kevin, 20 seconds left. Talk about the Dodgers because Robbie's sitting there. What about me?
Well, the Dodgers may have. I think the Dodgers have played it smart because they're not overcommitting themselves. They're looking long haul. They have young players coming in. They'll be in the playoffs. So see where it goes. And of course, the big move for the Dodgers, we all know, is grabbing Shohei Ohtani next year.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Gentlemen, thank you so very much. Robbie, Billy, Sergeant, Kevin, thank you so very much. Jon-Erik, UK, and Ray, and myself, and Robbie. God bless. We'll see you next week.